Ladies and gentlemen, Eddie Marcus here again. I was just thinking a moment ago about America, the United States of America, to be more specific. I call this my home. It's the only place that I really know of that I can call home. All of those that are related to me, as far as I know, live here. And it has been a place that we have shared with one another, and we've hoped for, and we've given for, and we basically love it. Not just white people, black people, natives, Asians, all of us. We really love America. And yet we find ourselves, me more specifically, who is constantly challenging America, saying that America has been negligent in its ability to govern in a way that is sufficient to bring peace and prosperity and joy to the people. And as time passes, and it seems though we're getting further and further away from even that as being a goal, to the extent that presently it appears as though we, in our efforts to make America great again, have brought into power gentlemen who are going back to their children's days when there was a nuclear ambition between nations to acquire the ability to be a bully in the park, to control all nations by having the threat of an ability to cause more pain than anybody else on the face of the earth, and given the opportunity by a challenge, will and have exercised that power. And so every nation, it seems, who gets a chance to build or return back to a phase of building because they fear what will happen to them by others who have no limitations. And so in an effort to say we want to survive, we take away and make sure that there are no limitations in what we do. And this is the cycle that we've traveled for the past 60 or so years. And you can bet, ladies and gentlemen, even before then, it is the same path that was traveled. And here we are saying again that we want to continue the generations of our society set up by people who are just repeating things that have happened, and we know that it's happening. And yet we find ourselves, and most of us, in such a degree that we are willing to accept whatever comes. There still are those who are out there raising their voices. They're doing everything they possibly can to alert the public to what is going on. And yet we, the public, must understand that these voices are there because this is the limitation to what they can do at this stage. They cannot step out with a solution and start going forward with it beyond what they have done, and that is to give their voice. So they're really crying out to the world to say, is there anyone out there? Are there those who have the courage, who have the direction, who have the vision, who have the desire to step forward in our stead? We are willing perhaps to forward if we can see the light beyond where it is right here. And so when we find that one, I want you to know that it is no lie. It is the truth that that one would actually be singled out, not by just you, but singled out by choice, to be different, to represent something that is much more pleasing, much more wonderful, much more there for everybody than anything else, knowing that to do so means that everything else which has been stamping itself on its shoulder as being the superior of all, to be the answer to all, knows that you are what you are. And in order to silence you, to silence that threat, they must take you out. And taking you out they will, because they know that to take you out, everybody else, whom, regardless of how serious they were, they don't want to get taken out. because the light that you have is not the one that those who are believing have. And yet it is essential that if you have it, then you must exercise it, or you're just amongst those who believe. And believers don't know. They got an excuse. What's yours? Well, yes, I say these things about the United States of America when they keep you away from that. And I don't just restrict it to America. I make it sound that way sometimes because this is my home. But the truth of the matter is, what I'm saying about America is the truth about every nation on the face of the earth. Every last one of them exist on the premise that their ideals are better than God's. And they know that it is absolutely a lie. And so they reward those who they can program to help them stand on this lie. And together that few survive in what we might call a dream life at the expense of everybody else who's bought into that lie because they profit from it, or bought into that lie because they're too fearful to do anything about it, because perhaps they don't know what to do. But it is a challenge to everybody on the face of the earth who claiming that they know the answer, especially those who are prophesizing God, to get your butts outside of those walls. Get your butt out of that pulpit and walk out in this community and look at the pain and suffering that is being generated because lies have been continued, and you have facilitated those lies by keeping your mouth quiet as if you didn't know anything better. And indeed, if you don't know anything better, keep your mouth quiet. Don't do a thing. Don't raise your hand to do anything. You just be still until the light brightens enough for you to let up those window shields so that you can see. But those of you who know the love of God, who knows that everybody on the face of the earth is equal in God's sight, and that everything that is necessary, essential for survival of every human being on the face of the earth, have those things available to it in abundance, that they may enjoy God's blessings to them. And the dreams and aspirations that they carry individually, that they work together in exercising their own dreams, placing them in a common force as they are required to cause the completion of a dream. And together that dream is made manifest. It is an expression of the love of God. And so when I find people who can reject that instead for some private enterprise, some private interest at the expense, I think that without a doubt, such a thought should be resisted at all costs. And only free people can do it. Only free people will do it. And so when we find that we are led down a path that is leading us back to the worst days of humankind's existence, it's time for somebody to stand up. And I'm not going to ask anybody to do something that I won't do. So I'm standing up. I'm standing up for love. I'm standing up for God. And to stand up for God means that I'm standing up for me and you, equal to me. I have no shame in that. I'm no more special than any of you. I'm really perhaps no more qualified than any of you, except for some strange reason my life was saved. And in that salvation, a power was made known that no other perhaps have shared. Or if they have, I'm convinced that the charge is the same with them as it is with me, and that is to know truth